On the 549th day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was concentrated in these areas. Everyone's attention remains focused on the Zaporizhzhia front, especially on the Robotyne-Verbove line, where heavy battles have been going on for days. Regardless of the reports coming from pro-Russian sources about a powerful Russian counterattack that managed to recapture half of Robotyne, in fact these claims are completely baseless. The Russian source Rybar informs that the Ukrainian forces are the ones that remain on the offensive, while the Russian army is trying to maintain its positions, and for this reason reinforcements have been sent in this part of the front. As proved by geolocated videos shown by the Ukrainian source Deep State, Ukrainian forces continue to push in this sector, advancing east of Robotyne, as well as west and northwest of Verbove. The Ukrainian forces of the 46th Airmobile Brigade moved nearly 2 kilometers deep into the right flank of the Russian defenses east of Robotyne. The advance of Ukrainian forces in this direction can be confirmed by Russian sources as well, as Russian drones did spot some elements of the 46th Brigade and hit their positions. The continuous advance of the Ukrainian forces on this flank shows that they are preparing for a strong offensive on Novoprokopivka. Judging by the rapid progress of Ukrainians and seeing the lack of trench lines around this town, we can say that it is very likely that the Ukrainian offensive on Novoprokopivka will get results much quicker than their offensive on Robotyne. However, based on the reports of the Ukrainian forces on the ground, the Ukrainian army is not only thinking about their advance towards the south, but as shown on the map, Ukrainians are working to expand the line of contact in other directions. West of Verbove, the Ukrainian army has already established solid positions near the main line of the Russian defense. However, as on-the-ground Ukrainian sources suggest, it is still too early for Ukrainians to attempt to penetrate the Russian defenses in this direction. As reported by Ukrainian forces who operate in this area, there is a risk that if the Ukrainian army pushes too far southwards, aiming for the city of Tokmak, they will likely fall into a trap and will get attacked by Russian forces on their flanks in the direction of Kopani and Novofedorivka. Therefore, in parallel with their advance towards the south, Ukrainian forces say that they are working to expand the area under their control in the Kopani-Nesteryanka and Novofedorivka-Novopokrovka segments. So we can say that the chances that the Ukrainian army will launch a swift offensive towards Tokmak in the coming days are extremely low. However, as reported by Ukrainian sources, it seems that the Russian army has now engaged a large part of their reserves on this sector, and recently a shortage of combat-ready reserves has been noticed by Ukrainian sources. In the direction of Novoprokopivka, the battles are fierce and the Ukrainian artillery continues to strike along the entire line of contact, but also at the Russian rear south of Novoprokopivka, where yesterday the Ukrainian forces hit a Russian convoy which was moving near the town. As reported by on-the-ground Ukrainian sources, the heavy battles remain concentrated in the areas between Robotyne and Novoprokopivka. The 46th Brigade reported that the Ukrainian forces may have reached the outskirts of Novoprokopivka in some directions, but this news is still not fully confirmed. On Bakhmut front, the fighting intensified in the direction of Klishchiivka. After the advance of the Ukrainian forces south and west of the village, the Russian forces launched a powerful attack on the Ukrainian fortifications on the nearby western heights. There is still no confirmation whether the Russian forces managed to advance in this direction or not, but from the footage it seems that Russians used ATGM, drones and artillery to hit the Ukrainian positions and did not attack with armored units as they did in their previous attempts. The Ukrainian Air Force responded by conducting airstrikes in the northern part of Klishchiivka, which remains under Russian control. A Su-25 fighter jet of the Ukrainian Air Force hit concentrations of Russian tanks and armored vehicles inside the village. Friends, if you like my daily updates, I kindly ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as this will greatly help the channel to reach a wider audience. That's all for today's update. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and have a great day.